Since a flight on an US Airways Boeing 757 early in 2008, Washington State resident Annie Estes suffers frequently with tremors. She believes she was poisoned by oil fumes in the aircraft cabin. Also, Sylvia Gassner is sure she was poisoned by contaminated cabin air. The young flight attendant has symptoms during and after flights.
Spatial disorientation, pounding headaches, chronic fatigue, falling asleep during conversations, numb hands, shaking, loss of memory.
For some time she has suspected that these symptoms are related to the air on the aircraft. Since last year she is sure about it. At that time, Plus Minus reported on toxic cabin air for the first time. The problem? With all modern aircraft, the cabin air is bled directly off the engines, without filters. Heated oil fumes may therefore enter the breathing air supply, a mix of toxic chemicals. Among those, beta-naphthylamine, which is carcinogenic, and tricrysyl phosphate, TCP, a potent neurotoxin. Airlines and manufacturers claim Plus Minus is exaggerating, that there is no problem, but experts have warned.
Es handelt sich einen extrem stark wirksamen Giftstoff.
It is a very powerful toxin, and its effects are so shocking that everything should be done to avoid exposure.
Abkommen kann, dass eigentlich alles getan werden muss, das zu vermeiden.
That was a year ago. What has happened since? Does the industry take the issue more seriously today? June 27, 2009. An Air Berlin Boeing 737 on its way to Greece has to return to Düsseldorf due to strong oil smells. August 5, 2009. Shortly after takeoff, the crew of an Eurowings BA 146 declares an emergency because of fumes in the cockpit and returns to Frankfurt. The passengers are rebooked on other flights. The pilots go straight to the nearest hospital. December 22nd. The crew of a Condor Boeing 757 experienced oil smells during takeoff. Despite that, the flight continues to Fuerteventura. In none of these cases were the passengers informed about the cause and the possible health effects. But these do exist. Example, Sylvia Gassner. After the Plus Minus reports, she and many of her colleagues consulted their doctors. They do not feel they are being taken seriously by their employers and the workers' compensation insurer. The so-called Aerotoxic Syndrome is still only known about by a few specialists. We are seeing an increase in cases. The critical peak will soon be reached, and then Aerotoxic Syndrome cannot be downplayed anymore or rejected as only occurring in isolated cases. Downplayed and rejected? Last year we found high amounts of TCP in swab samples in aircraft belonging to Condor. The company now refers to their own measurements.
TCP was not present in any of our extensive air samples tests. Swab samples did not show a hazard to the health of our employees or passengers.
A clean bill of health for Condor? Even so, documents obtained by Plus Minus prove that 19% of these swabs were positive for the neurotoxin TCP, so the management admits. Furthermore, the employee representation noted that the Condor measurements were questionable as they showed some deficiencies in the methodology, the reporting and the documentation. Sylvia Gassner is not reassured by the company's data.
Okay.
A few months ago, a US specialist analyzed her and her colleagues' blood. In all samples he concluded that they show neurological damage. Condor declined an interview on camera. We were told by email:
For Condor, the safety and health of passengers and crew has always highest priority.
We confront Sylvia Gassner with this statement. How are they treating people here?
Nicht menschenwürdig.
Not humanely. Not even animals should be treated this way. Nobody should be treated this way.
Incidents with contaminated air have to be reported to the authorities. In March 2009 we already proved that many cases were not reported. The Civil Aviation Authority has told us that there have been only 15 incidents since then. The Accident Investigation Branch deals with different figures. I have to conclude that we still do not get all the reports. This is indicated by the fact we are now receiving reports in an unusual way, directly from concerned flight crews and their unions. Plus Minus found out that only in January this year 44 incidents were filed by Condor workers and not by the airline's operation staff. It seems that German airlines still disregard their obligation to report. The issue is still being downplayed. This is a concern to us as so much is at stake. It is about the health of crews and our passengers, and we believe it is vital to explain and research the causes. Since last week, Sylvia Gassner, 27 years old, is permanently unable to work. Doctors are only slowly deciphering the toxic cocktails in her blood. The latest finding, beryllium. This toxic metal is used in turbine engines. She should not fly on any aircraft anymore, not even as a passenger.